In 2020, an estimated 1,806,590 new cases of cancer were diagnosed in the United States. According to the National Cancer Institute, 1 in 3 people with cancer experience mental or emotional distress. In fact, according to Mental Health America, the rate of major depressive disorder is up to 3 times higher among cancer patients than in the general population. Welcome to Normalize the Conversation. I'm your host, Francesca Reicherter, and today I'm joined by Julie Rock, a mom to 5, photographer, and breast cancer patient. Join us as Julie bravely opens up about her cancer journey and how she has nurtured her mental health throughout it all.
Julie, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited for our conversation. But before we jump in, I really just want to check in with you. How are you really?
Depends on the day, Fran. Today is a good day. Yesterday, maybe not so much, and who knows about tomorrow. So I just take it day by day, and if it's a not so good day, I do the things that help me get through the day, and that looks different. It could be exercising, or it could be hanging out with friends, or with my family, or getting out in nature. So there's different ways that I do it to help depending on the day, the mood that I'm in.
All we can do is take it day by day, but it sounds like you really have those tools in place to get through those like tougher days. So on that note, can you share kind of your journey from your initial diagnosis to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So back in March 2020, everyone remembers March 2020, a week after my commercial photography studio was shut down, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And because it was the beginning of COVID and they didn't know what was going to happen with the operating rooms and ventilators and all that, I was in surgery pretty quickly. About 9 days later, I was in surgery. I didn't really have any options, meaning like a lot of women, they can, they can go for like second or third opinions. And, they have the option of doing plastic surgery or whatnot. But because of COVID, I could only be in the operating room for as long as like necessary, and nothing extra. So I went in for a mastectomy, and then a month later, I did chemo. So I started chemo in June, and so I did that from June until October. I did 2 different chemo regimes. I was like, what word do I use again? And then I did radiation in November, December, and then I continued with immunotherapy for a year afterwards. So that ended in August of 2021. I had one other surgery, which was another mastectomy, just preventative on the other side. And then I was declared in remission, which was amazing. And we had a big party because obviously going through everything during COVID, it was so challenging. We couldn't have our family and friends around us. And everyone wanted to help, but they also wanted to keep me safe. And we didn't really know much about the virus then, right? So we had a big outdoor party. And then, yeah, I just worked on getting back to work full time and strengthening and healing my body, and just trying to navigate what I called my new normal, because obviously I wasn't able, like, it's hard to go back to your old life before a cancer diagnosis. You're now, you've gone through all that you've gone through and it changes you. And you have to figure out how to deal with things that may come up or going forward. So yeah, for the next year, I did all those things. And the Monday, I started kind of having symptoms, like episodes, I called it, in July of 2022. But it all seemed to be we were explainable. We were like, okay, you exercised in the 40-degree heat, so heat stroke. So there was a couple of things like that that happened, and they could be explained. Yeah, and then so after I had like this one episode, and we were pretty concerned at that point, so I reached out to my medical team, and they had me go to their closest hospital, where they discovered a lesion in my brain. So my breast cancer had metastasized to my brain. And instead of going away on our family vacation that week, literally 4 days later, we had to cancel it. And I was in brain surgery the following week. So I had a craniotomy, and I was told it was in the best possible spot. It was in this area here, so it was accessible, and it's kind of ironic, funny, whatever that word is. Um, it never crossed my mind that it I wouldn't be able to have surgery to have it removed until the surgeon said it's in the best possible place that it could be. We can remove it, and I was like, oh, that never crossed my mind that that wasn't an option. Um, so yeah, so I had that, and then I was in the hospital for a couple of days, which again was new because all my other surgeries were day surgeries. So I was in and out within like a few hours. So to be in the hospital for a couple of days was different. But I think because, not I think, I know because I looked after myself and I had always been active. Um, and so I was able to get my body to pretty much pre-strength before 2020. So I know that because of all the hard work that I did, that's why I was released less than 48 hours after brain surgery.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah, I know. And then yeah, I had a month later, I had brain radiation, so just the area, not whole brain radiation, and that really knocked me on my ass. And yeah, it took me probably a good 4 months to actually start recovering from that. So really, it was about more like mid-December where I was really starting to more feel more like myself. Um, but I still have days where I'll do too much because I'm like, oh, I'm feeling better. I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z, and then like I pay for it the following 2 days. So I'm still trying to find that. I hate to say the word balance, but I guess I'll just say it. I'm still trying to find that balance and not overdoing it and listening to my body. So here I am now, yeah, at the end of January. And yeah, like I'm getting there.
Julie, your story, I mean, this has been a long journey for you. Very long, almost 3 years at this point. When I met you in September of 2022, I remember you had said, oh, I had brain surgery 8 weeks ago. And that seems like a very close period of time. But now hearing you explain the whole story, that was a lot to then come to this event 8 weeks later with the biggest smile on your face. So kind, so encouraging. I mean, I was sitting there alone, terrified out of my mind, and you made me feel so welcomed and like loved and important. Just the amount of kindness that you had in that moment is more than the average person ever has. But to have gone through so much, and it literally have been 2 years of surgeries and radiation to be that. I mean, how do you do it?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just in me. I will do anything to help other people. And meeting you and seeing you're all by yourself, I was like, yeah, you gotta come. Like it's just something that comes natural to me.
You are amazing. So then throughout your journey, was there any point where it didn't feel as easy and natural to kind of give that energy and have that energy to be there for others? I mean, even for yourself.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, and there's still days where I just have to put myself first. I have, especially this second diagnosis. I was more along the lines of I'm working on this for me. Like I'm dealing with this on my own. I'm not worried about other people. I'm not going to worry about their feelings. I'm just focusing on myself and my family, of course, but myself
Yeah.
first and foremost.
I mean, this happened at the start of COVID. So the world is shutting down. your commercial photography studio was closing, and then you were diagnosed with cancer. What was going through your mind at that point?
There are so many things. Honestly, like COVID, I was like, what is this? Like, is it really that bad? I
Yeah.
think we all were of that mindset though, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then sure enough, and then it was, how am I gonna feed my family? How am I gonna look after my family? Because I can't work. Um, and being self-employed, like there's nothing unemployment wise. You can't qualify for anything to help. So, and then thankfully the government did start rolling out assistance and help. And I was able to qualify for a lot of the things. And that really did keep my business going. And like I always say, like I would have been diagnosed with cancer regardless, but COVID happening at the same time actually saved my business because I was able to qualify for the grants and the different support and the commercial rent relief. Like I was able to qualify for all those things, so that helped me keep my commercial space and put food on the table for my family. Um, so that's how I'm looking at it. It's like that was the silver lining to my diagnosis was the timing. Because if it had been, say, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have qualified for any unemployment. I didn't have critical care illness insurance. Ironically, I had been looking into it. So I've been like, I've reached out to some of my photographer groups and I had done a post about, we always, we have like insurance for our equipment or insurance for our businesses. But what about critical care illness? Because I had in my head, I'm a healthy, 40 something ish woman, like I'm okay, I'm good. So I didn't worry about that. So if I'd had that, of course, that would have helped too. But um, like I don't know, the timing, you just never know.
Yeah, so that timing actually, I mean, I don't want to be like, oh, it was a good time to get diagnosed or a good time for a pandemic to happen. Like, no,
Yeah,
but it did, the timing wise, it did really help you have the chance to kind of go through recovery to get the treatment that you needed and also be able to kind of save your career. It didn't have to
mhm,
cost you your career, which isn't always the reality for so many people. Did
absolutely.
did your mental health ever really start to hit low points throughout?
Oh, Fran. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Especially at the beginning. The beginning is always the hardest because you're doing all these tests. And I'm talking like weeks and weeks of tests. Okay, maybe not weeks and weeks, but lots and lots of tests over whatever the time frame is. And that waiting period is the worst because you don't know. Like I knew I was going to have treatment quickly because I was early stage cancer. Um, but afterwards, I still had to have like, all of all of the other tests done before they knew which way they were going to go. Like, was there going to be chemo? They had to wait for the pathology report. And again, because of COVID, it took almost 6 weeks for my pathology report to come in after my surgery.
Wow.
So there was quite a wait before I even started treatment. And then, what's that going to look like? How are you going to react? Like, because you hear chemo and you think automatically you're in bed all the time and you're hugging the toilet, right? Like that's what I pictured in my head, but it wasn't like that for me at all. And so I did have some friends I was able to reach out to. So that did help because I like to know, like I like to educate myself. So if I don't know what it is, then I'm going to read up on it. But I was trying really hard to stay off Google. No, Dr. Google. Um, and so as I was going through my journey and stuff, I did find out about a place here called Wellspring. So they do offer support groups. And because of COVID, it was all virtual. So those were really helpful. They were able to give me some more tools to help get through the days. I was actually fortunate enough that I didn't experience a lot of the symptoms that people typically do with chemo. So I was actually able to walk. So in when I'm really feeling really good, I exercise, 4 or 5 times a week. I play soccer, I do like boxing, different things like that. So I'm very active. I wasn't able to do all of those things, obviously, but I was able to walk pretty consistently. I would have quite a few walking buddies that would walk. with me. And then I was able to work out, maybe once a week. It depended on where I was with my treatment though. So exercise for me has always been my outlet for my mental health. Always, always, always. But then I knew that I had to pull some other resources too to help me get through those days. So I did a lot of journaling. I do a lot of journaling. So that was a big one. Um, some of the support groups, meeting other people that are going through or have gone through always helps too, right? Because they always have different tips and stuff to help you. So that helped me at the beginning. And that's also, and then for me, sharing my journey online. So I do have like a personal blog on Facebook and on Instagram. And so that sharing that for me has been therapeutic. And through that, I've had a lot of women reach out to me, like thanking me for sharing my journey. And then, we've become friends. There's quite a few women I've become friends with, and because they're new to the journey, and we connect and we still stay in touch and everything. But for me, that was therapeutic as well. So there's quite a few things. And of course, like I do meditation as well. Um, and I read. So there's just, I know what will help me, and I will use those when I need to. Again, it just depends on the day and what I need that will help me the most.
Real quick, how can people find your blog to follow along on your journey?
Sure. So on Instagram, I am on there as Julie Rock Personal Cancer Blog. And on Facebook, because I started my Facebook one first, because keeping up with my social media going through treatment wasn't at the top of my list, really. So I didn't connect the two. Anyway, so Facebook has more, and it has a different name, and it is Rock versus Cancer during COVID-19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that one has more like from the beginning, whereas Instagram, I kind of tried to like get caught up and was like, okay, forget it, I'll just continue.
That is amazing. Thank you for sharing your journey. And for everyone listening, please go follow along. I mean, you're amazing. How did so many people, I know for me with my mental health, it took me forever to figure out what tools worked for me, to figure out if I liked journaling, what kind of journaling, right? Different meditations, exploring it, thinking I hated it, then thinking I loved it, and thinking I've hated it again because my mind just changed, what was happening changed. And how did you find what worked for you?
I've always liked writing and I've always liked journaling. So to me, that was like a no-brainer. I never thought I could do meditation though, because I'm go, go, go. So for me to sit still and just like quiet my mind, it's not something that I do. My outlet is always moving, working out, right? So it took me quite a while to get into the meditation. And then someone had told me about Insight Timer. So I like the guided meditation. So I'm, yeah, that's helped me.
It's amazing that you have these tools. So going along your journey, at what point did you start realizing that you needed to implement these tools?
That's a really good question. Um, just when I didn't have the energy to be as active as I wanted to be, and I could feel myself. I would, I wouldn't want to get out of bed. I would just kind of want to lay there and not really engage or do anything. And I was like, okay, this isn't me. I need to do something to get myself out of this, because I know the longer you're in that, the harder it is to get out.
I know for me, when I get to those points where I'm feeling like I just don't have the energy to get up, to get out of bed, I've no passion or purpose or anything left inside me. I just hit that point of complete burnout. It can take me so long to recognize how I'm feeling, to not hate myself for feeling that way. I often tend to judge myself. This isn't you. Why are you allowing yourself to feel this way? You're throwing a pity party for yourself. Like those are thoughts coming into my head. And it can take me weeks, honestly, to get back up and get somewhere and start utilizing tools. When you started recognizing that this wasn't you, you wanted to regain that energy, was it something that you just figured out those tools like that? Or did it take a while?
Oh, it definitely took a while. Yeah, it did not happen overnight at all. And I had to be ready, like mentally ready and willing to be accepting of the help that I was needing. Um, and so the program that I did, it's a 5-level program and it's called Healing from Cancer. And it was really helpful. I've only done 2 or 3 of the levels, but I've talked to a lot of women about it, and I've said like you have to be ready and willing to do the work to get you to where you want to be. So it definitely doesn't happen overnight. It took several months for me to get to that point where I was like, okay, I need to do something about this. I don't like this path that I'm going down mentally. I need to figure out how to get out of it or what I need to do to support myself to get to where I want it to be.
It's not easy. I mean, in general, when you're just struggling. But to be going through a cancer diagnosis, to be going through the pandemic, to be going through so many changes, to be a parent at the same time, that's a lot all at once. I mean, to be able to, I don't have kids. I have a dog and I struggle to just manage to like walk her enough and feed her enough. Love her so much. It's been 5 years. Still a handful to have one dog. So I can't imagine the magnitude of responsibility you felt on your shoulders in that moment.
I think we just went into survival mode, to be honest. Like we were just like, we'll just take it day by day. The kids were doing online school, which I didn't. I was very hands off going through treatment. My husband was able to be home. So again, it was kind of that silver lining because of COVID.
Yeah.
He was home with me, whereas otherwise he'd be working.
Yeah.
So it was like a catch-22, right? Like if there wasn't COVID, we could have our family and friends here to help. But there was so many advantages to it being during COVID. Um, I never felt like a failure at all. I just knew that we were doing the best that we could. And it was literally some days were like minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, obviously. And we didn't put any pressure on the kids. If there was days where they couldn't handle school, we didn't do it. And that was all there was to it. If we just needed to just cuddle on the couch and hang out and watch movies, that's what we did. So we didn't put all that pressure on ourselves. And the teachers in the school were really understanding with it too. But yeah, it hasn't been easy juggling all
Yeah.
the things, including the family and the kids. But
To be able to not put that pressure, did that take a lot of communication between you and your partner and your family as a whole?
oh yeah,
And what was that
definitely.
communication like?
There was a lot of we've always been very open with communication with our kids. So as scary as a cancer diagnosis is, it also wasn't something I wanted to hide from the kids. Now to each your own, with everyone deals with it in their own way. But because my kids were pretty young, like my youngest was in senior kindergarten at the time, and then my boys were grades 4 and 5, I think. The years have just kind of gone by. So, you know, and then my other 2 kids were a little bit older, so they understood more. But we would like sit down with them and when we told them what was happening. And so we would when I would go for chemo, we called them Mummy's special medicine days. So we said like, this is Mummy's special medicine. It's going to help her get better. And so we spun it that way. And then, we would sit all together on the couch or whatever and just talk about, this is what's going to be happening, especially when it came to like surgery, and I was very hands off. I couldn't, they didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of like, let's sit down and talk about it. If you have questions, we'll answer them as best as we can. And we're still like that with them. And they're a little bit older now, so they do understand more. So there are definitely a lot more questions, but we get through it.
It's amazing that you have that open communication line with your kids. I know from a kid's perspective, it can be terrifying to not know what's happening, to see a parent being sick and not knowing what it means. I mean, there's so much uncertainty when it comes to cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I remember sorry, continue.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say there definitely is.
I remember when my grandmother was diagnosed with cancer, my dad's mom, she passed away when I was 9. And that whole time, I didn't know much about cancer other than what I would hear about in school. And it was that people died of cancer, right? That was like
Hmm.
the kind of story that you hear. So that's
Yeah.
all I knew about it. And I didn't know that there were different types, different stages, that different treatment options, that there's all these other pieces. It was just someone has cancer and they die. And for me as a kid, that was so overwhelming and confusing to see that you had that open line of communication where your kids are actually able to ask you questions, where you're answering them, where you're including them in the process, you're giving them space, giving yourself space to figure it out is amazing. What advice would you give to other parents who may be in similar situations?
That's a good one. Um, Obviously, it depends on the ages of your kids. And like if obviously if they're, toddlers or babies, they're not going to understand. But, once they hit that age where they kind of understand, but they don't, just open communication is the way to go. Like you can't hide. There was no way I could have hid going through chemo and losing all my hair and everything. Like I know a lot of people wear wigs. I was like, no, no wigs. I'm rocking the bald head. And that's exactly what I did, was rock the bald head. Um, but just keep those open lines of communication, keep those lines of communication open, and just sit down. And like kids are resilient, they can handle it. It's better to be open and honest with them than to not be honest and not tell the truth. I think it's just beneficial for everybody if you can just sit down and have like, family meetings, so to speak, and just talk about like what's going to happen. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows, what the future holds. But if you can just deal with it, one day at a time or 1 minute at a time, but be open and honest about it and not hide it. Again, I know that everyone has different beliefs, so some people may not be comfortable being as open, and you got to do what's right for you.
And it makes a big difference when if you're able to and ready to have a form of communication so that you can learn to go through it together. That way you don't have to go through it completely alone.
Mhm.
Did you ever fear or feel lonely in your journey?
I honestly can say I didn't. No, I
That's amazing.
um unfortunately, but fortunately, I guess, I do have some friends who are also on this similar journey. They're a few years ahead of me. So I did have, that support that I could reach out to. And there are a couple that, we still like talk quite a bit. Um, and then like the community and family and friends, like they just all rallied around us. And like at the beginning, of my first diagnosis, it was different. Like, but we still felt the love even from a distance. And the second time around, it was like night and day because we were able to, like, we had friends come and take the kids out of the house, just to get them take their mind off of things. And we were able to have family and friends come to the house and help out. So I can 100,000% say I have never felt alone on this journey, but I do know that there are people that are alone. And actually, I'm going to tell you a story. Um, I did post it on my Facebook. I did post it online. And so it was just before Christmas. I just happened to go to a grocery store that I don't usually go to. I think it was like 2 days before Christmas, right? So, when you don't really want to go out, but you have to go out,
Yeah.
and the lineups were insane. And so I'm just like, okay, let's find a line and whatever. And I get into the line and like it's long, like it's like out and like across the store. Okay, so we're talking like a huge lineup. And so I start talking to this lady in front of me, or she starts talking to me. However, it happened. You know me, like I talk to everybody. Not everybody, but and so we just start talking. And she had said, "Oh, I haven't seen lineups this long since the beginning of COVID." And I responded with, well, I don't know because I wasn't out during that time. I was dealing with some health issues. So I wasn't in the stores. We had friends and family going to the stores for us. And she was like, oh, okay. Like, I hope you're okay now. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm not going to get into it with someone that I'm just meeting in the store. Right. Um, And then she takes off her hat and her hair is just starting to grow back. And she's like, "Oh, I understand the health. Um, I understand what it's like to, have health concerns." She's like, "I'm just finishing chemo and radiation." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So I take off my hat because my hair was a little bit shorter than what it is now. Um, and I said, "Well, it looks like we're on a similar journey." And we spent the next 20 minutes talking while we waited in line. And this is a store that I don't usually shop in, someone that I just happened to meet in the same line. And she proceeded to like share her story with me. We ended up having the same oncologist. Like,
Wow.
how, what are the odds of that happening?
Yeah.
It just blew me away. And she was lovely. And she shared with me that she is pretty much on her own. She doesn't have any kids or a significant other. It's just her, and her brother does help her out. And I said to her, like what I would say to anyone else: "Here's my number. If you need anything, let me know. I'm happy to help." But it was just one of those crazy run-ins that you would never expect. Again, a store that I don't usually go to.
That's amazing. It's so funny how you just show up and you're at a place where you're meant to be and have a conversation that you're meant to have, and you probably helped her feel so much less alone in it. I mean, even when you are surrounded by people, when you're the only one going through something in your immediate circle, it can feel isolating at times. And to know that you're not the only person in the world struggling with it, although other people struggle, to actually see that you're not the only one can really, and no matter what it is that you're struggling with, it can really change everything for someone. So I'm sure you really helped her. But for people, I mean, it sounds like you had an amazing support system with your friends, your family, your support groups. What advice would you have someone who has a loved one who's maybe been diagnosed with cancer, who's going through treatment, on how they can be supportive, things to say, things not to say?
Oh, how much time do we have? Um, well, as a support person, you also have to look after yourself too. So you're so busy, obviously, worrying about your loved one and your family, but you also have to look after yourself, because if you don't look after yourself, you're going to end up not being able to care for them and end up needing a caregiver for yourself. So, I would recommend reaching out to a caregiver support group, or reaching out to others that you may know who may know someone to connect you with. Like, find other people to talk to about it for you. And then for what to say and what not to say, that's a loaded question, Fran. uh, you're the strongest person I know. Sometimes we don't always want to be the strongest person you know. I get that a lot, and sometimes I don't know how to respond. So I usually will just say thank you, because it's hard to be the strong person, but it's also hard to ask and admit that you need help.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's so many things going through my head right now. And then, like, if you're someone that has come across someone going through cancer, and you, like, a lot of the times you don't know what to say. And I have said that myself to a couple of my friends that are going through it before I was diagnosed. You don't know what to say. And so I would typically just say to them, "How can I help you? What can I help you with?" Like, don't say, "I'm here for you," and then ghost, like I did say, I have a couple who are in more advanced, and two of them are, back in treatment and stuff right now. And so I do check in with them fairly frequently. And I just say, "I know, it's hard for you to ask for help, but, I'm going to the store. What can I get you?" It's sometimes easier to offer that than to expect for them to reach out to you.
Yeah.
That was really, really, really hard for me and for us to do, admitting that we needed help, but also asking for it. And I still struggle with it. We still need help with some things, but I still struggle with asking for it. But I'm like, you know what? If you don't ask, you're not going to get the help that you need.
Yeah. No, it can be terrifying to ask for help, to find the language, to just admit
Mm-hmm.
that you can't do it all. I mean, as humans, innately, we want to appear strong, and our idea of strong tends to be that we can carry everything. We can make it up from the car at the groceries in one trip. We can do it all. We
Mm-hmm.
can hold it all. We can hold it
Mm-hmm.
all on our shoulders. And when it gets to that point that we realize I can't do this alone, I need some extra help, it can feel, at least for me, I can feel very shameful when I have to like admit, not just to myself, but to someone else, that I need help, that I can't do it alone. Whether it's going to the grocery store and asking somebody to pick something up for me, or just sit there and hold my hand, or pick something up for me, just do something, or just be something that I can't in that moment. It can be really hard for me to put it into words and then actually choose who to say it to, right? To actually not only figure out that I need help, but now look at somebody, call someone up and say, I can't do this. Can you help me with this? Can you do this? That is an overwhelming amount of fear for me for the longest time. What advice would you give to somebody who's maybe afraid to reach out and say, I need some help?
You, it's hard for anybody to ask for help. 100%. You just have to swallow your pride and know that you do have the support and love out there, and people want to help you. So there were times where, um, even like asking like a family member or a friend, something as small as, going to the store, or as big as helping out with things around the house. We really, really heavily relied on people this past August, September, because we were trying to get the kids back into school and different things. So it was really hard. And my husband has mobility issues, so he physically, there are some things that he can't do, and I couldn't do them. So we really had to just swallow our prides and just ask for help. And we knew it wasn't a sign of weakness, but that we had to ask our tribe, ask our village, and your village almost always, you know what, I'm not even gonna say almost, your village always wants to help you.
Yeah.
They don't always know how to help you. So sometimes they will wait for you to reach out, or they just show up. Hey, we're here. What can we do?
It does take a village. And if we don't reach out to others in our village and we can't get the help that we need, it's okay to reach out for help. It's okay to not be able to do it all on your own. Julie, you've been absolutely amazing. As we're wrapping up, what's one message you'd like to give to someone else who's living with cancer, who's going through treatment? It's maybe a message of hope.
Oh, Fran. Just know that you can do this. You don't know how strong you are until you have no choice but to be strong. And going through a cancer journey, it changes you. I can't even explain how it changes you, but you come out the other side a different person, and you will come out the other side. You really, you will. Just take it day by day, take it minute by minute, second by second when you have to. And, like, learn to listen to your body, and if it's telling you to rest, rest. Um, Learn to be okay with asking for help. It is okay to admit for that you need help and to ask for help. And know that, it's okay that you can't do all the things that you used to do. It's only temporary. So you will be able to get back to what you were able to do before. And in the meantime, just lean on your village to help you. But you will get through this, and you will become a different person, and you'll become the strongest version of yourself that you ever could become.
Thank you so much for listening to Normalize the Conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. This podcast is an initiative of Inspiring My Generation, focusing on normalizing the conversation, bringing education and awareness to the forefront, and amplifying global voices to spark change and hope. Inspiring My Generation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization on a mission towards suicide prevention through awareness, conversation, education, and support. Connect with us on Instagram at Inspiring My Generation and visit our website inspiringmygeneration.org to learn more about our work and how you can make a difference.